Hey, Mr. Snyder, here today we are going to be talking about graphing a system of inequalities, okay? So if you remember back when we were doing inequalities, all you had to do was graph a line and pretend for the most part it was just a line, except you had to worry a little bit about shading, okay? Whether it was above or below. Now with system of inequalities, to find the solution of a system of inequalities, you're going to shade both of the inequalities and look for the overlapping where both of the shading kind of overlaps each other, and that's what we're going to call the solution to a system of inequalities. Okay, so let me show you two examples by hand and then one example using the calculator. Alright, so the first example, y is greater than or equal to 3x minus 5. I'm assuming you know how to graph these, so I'm going to just start by getting just the lines and then we'll talk about how the shading works. Okay, so here we go. So I got 3x minus 5. My y-intercept is going to be at negative 5, so I'm just going to go ahead and put my point there. I'm going to go up 3 over 1 for my other points. Let me just go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, once I get my points down, I'm going to have to ask myself if it's going to be a solid or a dotted line. This is going to be a solid one. And again, don't make fun of me. I'm going to try my best, not bad, to get a straight line. Alright, awesome. So that's the first one. Let's look at the next one. This one's going to have a 5 as my y-intercept, so I'm going to put a dot there. I'm going to go down 2 over 1 for this one, so here we go. So apply a couple more points. There's another one. There's another one, and there's another one, okay? And I'm going to now do another bold line because, again, it's a great less than or equal to, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a line for that one, okay? And make sure you get arrows on both of those. All right, so now I have my lines, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and shade the first one. The first one is greater than or equal to, so I'm going to shade above the line. So let me get my little highlighter out, and I'm going to change it to, let's see here, green color. And I'm going to go ahead and just shade everything above that first line, okay? So I'm going to shade over here. I'm going to shade just everything above it. Awesome. You get the idea. All right. So that's shaded everything above that first line. Okay. Now, the next line wants me to shade below because it's less than or equal to. All right. I'm going to use a different color for this one. I'm going to use, let's see here. Let's use blue. Okay. And I'm going to shade below that second line, the one with the negative slope. Okay. So shading below it, you'll notice that when I shade below it, you will have a section that for the most part is kind of just blue on its own, but then you'll have a section like the one over here where it's green and blue together. Okay, the green and blue is the overlapping section, and for the most part that overlapping section contains all the points that if you were to plug them into both the top and bottom inequality, you would make those inequalities true. Okay, so wherever the two graphs overlap or the two shaded areas overlap, that is what we like to call the set of solutions. Okay, and that will be your solution. So for example, in this one, all this area is our solution. Okay, so any points in there plugged into the inequality will make these inequalities true, both of them. Okay, that's how you do system of inequalities. Let's move on to the next example. Okay. Now, sometimes you'll have the inequalities not already put like y equals something. Okay, like not in y equals mx supposed to be form. Okay, so you can't do the line very easily. So that can be easily solved by getting everything y on one side, everything on the other. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides on this one. And I'm going to end up getting y is less than or equal to negative 4x plus 6. Again, I didn't have to change the inequality sign because I did not multiply or divide by a negative number. Let me do the next one. This one I have a feeling I'm going to have to do a switcheroo. So let's go ahead. That rhymed, by the way. I'm going to have to do a switcheroo. I've been rhyming all day. All right, so here we go. Negative 5y is less than negative 2x plus 10. Okay, now I'm going to divide by a negative 5, and this is where you should be going, uh-oh, Mr. Snyder, you better be switching that inequality. I won't forget, I promise. So y is greater than, now let's do this division. Negative 2 over negative 5, well, that's just going to be a positive 2/5 x. And then 10 divided by negative 2, well, that's just going to be a negative 2. Okay, so there are my two equations. Let's go ahead and graph it. The first y-intercept for this one, y is less than or equal to negative 4x plus 6. All right, now 6 is right up here. I'm going to go ahead and draw my other points. I'm going to go down 4 over 1, down 4 over 1, and I'm going to do that one more time, down 4 over 1, and there are my points for the line. I have to ask myself again, is it going to be a solid or a dashed line? This one's going to be a solid, so I'm just going to make sure. Oh, so close, so close. All right, pretty close. There is my line. All right. Now the other one's going to be a dashed line because it's just going to be greater than, no equal to. This one is going to have a y-intercept of negative 2. Okay. And I'm going to go up. The slope says go up 2 over 5. I'm just going to, for the most part, plot 1 point. Okay. And I'm going to dash this line. So here we go. Dashing, 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 dashing. Make sure you put arrows, even on the dash lines, all right? So we got our two lines. We got a solid, we got a dash. This time I'm going to kind of use process elimination to make sure I know which is my overlapping area. Now, the first one, the first line says I'm going to shade everything below it, okay? The second line says I'm going to shade everything above it. So pretty much that would leave us this area here. So I'm just going to shade our solution area this time. If it helps, you can go ahead and shade both inequalities and then just kind of like really make the overlapping part dark so I can make out that you have a solution there. Okay, so there is my solution for the second problem. Third problem, like I said or promised, I am going to do on a calculator. So to do inequalities, you're going to go over here to your calculator. You're going to open up a graph. Before you type in your inequality, you're going to hit backspace like we did before and choose one of the inequalities that you need. I'm going to use option number 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and type in my equation or inequality. So negative 3x plus 8 is my first one. Notice again it does a solid line and it does above or shades above. I'm going to hit tab and I'm going to get my second inequality, again hitting backspace, choosing the correct inequality. That's number 4. So y is greater than 2x, let's see here, minus 7. Okay, and you can again see that the overlapping area is just this section up here, this little triangular section up here, okay? And that's how we can go ahead and graph a system of inequalities on our calculators, okay? So hopefully that answers a lot of your questions. If you have any more, you can call me on over and I can help you out, all right? Have a wonderful day. I will see you later. Bye-bye.